Welcome to the series where we play through every Harry Potter game chapter by chapter. This episode will feature Halloween and our 7 games. First, we'll cover everything up to Halloween. In the book, Professor McGonagall sends Harry and Nimbus 2,000 broomstick to use for Quidditch, but this event is in none of these games. Let's start with the PC version. After getting put on the team by McGonagall, Harry goes to visit Hagrid as planned. The way to Hagrid's hut is a dangerous level itself. Arriving, Hagrid tells Harry of the dragon's egg he is trying to hatch, and asks for Harry to get fire seeds that he grows from plants.
In caves out in the garden.
Hagrid's garden sure is big and inefficient in these games. Harry gets to the caves, which have mining equipment and dangerous creatures lying around in them. The fire seed plants are spread out in different rooms in the caves, and rather than incendiating the already hot plants, casts Flipendo to knock out the seeds, and must wait for them to cool down to safely gather.
Hagrid told me to stay away from the hot seeds. Ow!
Harry suddenly exits the caves through a convenient gate directly back to Hagrid's yard. It would have been quicker to directly enter from here. The level layout doesn't actually loop around. There is a second Hagrid's hut at the end, far away from the beginning. Like in the PlayStation version, the seeds are put in the fire to hatch Norbert.
You've done it, Harry. It's hatching. Ain't he lovely? I'll call him Norbert. He's a Norwegian ridgeback, you know. Up you come, me beauty.
Hagrid rewards Harry with a magic flute this time. This is later than the PS1 version, but still quite early. I said that introducing Norbert earlier is an improvement to the narrative, but the time it would make most sense would be around Christmas for him to visit the Hog's Head and acquire the egg from the man over a card game. In the book, Hagrid wins the egg around Easter, as when he first shows the egg to Harry, Ron, and Hermione during the Easter holiday break, he says he got it last night. I'm interrupting the PC version of Game Boy Advance, which you'll see the reason for shortly. Harry goes to Herbology in Greenhouse 1, but it's not really a class. He's all alone with Professor Sprout, who lets him gather another one of the Wiggenwood potion ingredients, Molly. Harry gets lots of it all over the greenhouse, which is filled with more pits and dangerous creatures, but only one dangerous plant, the Venomous Tentacular, a misspelling of the Venomous Tentacula commonly seen in the PC version. This carnivorous plant is actually helpful, as you can't cast Flipendo on Doxies here like in the PC version, with the only way to defeat them being to lure them to the plant which eats them. After Harry gets out of Molly, Ron tells him it's time for his first Quidditch match. It's also time for PC Harry's first Quidditch match after helping hatch Norbert, and PS1 Harry's first Quidditch match right after he recovers the Remember and gets put on the team. Gameplay of Quidditch in these 3 versions is the same. Harry needs to fly after the golden snitch and fill a meter by going through the hoops it leaves in its wake. Then when the meter is full, press at the right time when the hand icon grabs the snitch. Then the game is won against either Hufflepuff in PS1 or Slytherin in the other 2 games, which is canonical. However, the first match happens next chapter in the book, and isn't won perfectly without incident. Let's finish up with the PC events before Halloween. Harry goes to another Defense Against Dark Arts class. On the way, he can explore the largest area of the castle the PC version ever lets you. All the other games, except for the mobile version of LEGO Harry Potter, have the castle and grounds as a freely explorable hub world. Except it's always the same hub world. For better or worse, every time Harry goes to the same locations in the castle in the PC version, such as the entry hall, sings Sains. These are separate levels in a completely linear game. Different portraits hang in the same spots, secret passages appear, vanish, or go somewhere different. And most notably, this time the second floor, which Harry fought Peeves in last episode, is greatly extended where it previously had dead ends. Though the castle magically changing is mentioned in the books, how are the students going to different classes than Harry supposed to get there? I suppose through these doors that are shut to Harry. Harry makes it to the third floor, where the classroom is.
Wow! Did you see that? Professor Snape just came out of the Forbidden Corridor. He's limping quite badly.
Well, now we know Snape made it out after the end of last episode. Quirrell teaches Loomis in this class, followed, of course, by a non-canonical Loomis challenge. In this game, Loomis can only be cast on gargoyles, and only creates platforms of solid light, which sometimes move. Now it's time for Harry to descend to the castle depths for potions class. Snape is teaching how to make the Wiggenweld healing potion today.
You're late for potions, Mr. Potter. Inexcusable even for celebrities. 5 points from Gryffindor. Potter, go to the dungeons and fetch the potion ingredients for the class.
Things still get worse.
Where am I? I wonder if Snape tricked me.
Now comes the hardest PC level yet, collecting the ingredients and ascending back through the deep dungeons. Harry must jump over many bottomless pits and avoid the patrolling ghost of the Bloody Baron. Harry makes it back across the bridge finally, except the other way.
Late again, you lazy boy. A further 3 points from Gryffindor should teach you a lesson. Students are off to the Halloween feast. Join them, if you must.
Harry only has potions on Friday in the book, and Halloween was Thursday in 1991. These games often just have people tell Harry where to go next, even though the events are spread out over a year. In the PlayStation game, after the match against Hufflepuff, Snape approaches Harry and confiscates the Quidditch Through the Ages book Hagrid gave to him when Norbert hatched. Snape does confiscate this in the next chapter, where Hermione instead of Hagrid gave it to Harry.
You think because you're a celebrity that somehow the law doesn't apply to you, that you're above the law?
Certainly not.
Well, let me tell you something funny, boy. You know that little stamp? The one that says New York Public Library? Well, that may not mean anything to you, but that means a lot to me. One whole hell of a lot. Sure, go ahead, laugh if you want to. I've seen your type before. Flashy, making the scene, flaunting convention. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. What's this guy making such a big stink about old library books? Well, let me give you a hint, Junior.
Snape then tells that he's missing a Sloth's brain. In a series of coincidences, the piece of paper that fell out of the book as Snape confiscated it is a map of Fred and George that leads to a nearby door.
The map says there is a magic word to open the door. Well, here goes. Alohomora. Wow, look. I've opened that rusty door.
That's not a magic password. You just cast the unlocking spell, Ron. Past the door, Harry eventually comes across the brain just levitating above a stump. Harry goes down to the dungeons and returns the brain that Fred and George presumably stole to Snape. Snape teaches how to mix a Wiggenweld potion here as well, except Harry actually gets to learn how here. It's another press the right buttons at the right time minigame, although this one is easier. Snape still tells Harry to go and get a jar of fireflies. The hooded villain that animated the gargoyle reappears and blasts Harry through the floor. Harry makes his way up to a dungeon filled with trolls. He ends up at the bottom of the well and is able to rescue the lost kitten. Harry goes through more ordeals such as jumping across floating cauldrons and snatching a key under the nose of a sleeping troll. But he finally makes it back to the adjoining room with the fireflies and gives them to Snape. Next class is Defense Against the Dark Arts, which is located in the dungeons in this version. Professor Quirrell teaches the Verdimillious spell, which can reveal platforms obscured in dark areas. Verdimillious does not require a minigame when cast. Attempting to leave the dungeons, Harry has to go a different way than he came because the door arbitrarily locks behind him. This other exit is blocked by 4 cursed eyeballs. To dispel them, Harry needs to search lots of rooms and destroy their twins with Flipendo. After making it out, Harry finally has enough yellow and green beans to buy the passwords to 2 portraits from Fred and George, which conceal the Nimbus 2000 broom and Quidditch armor respectively. So Harry ended up getting the broom after on this chapter for me, but getting the requisite beans is an optional challenge that players will complete at their own pace. Harry goes to the upper castle to attend Transfiguration class. Professor McGonagall teaches the Avaforce spell. It took me over 10 minutes to complete the spell learning minigame. The casting minigame isn't difficult though. Harry uses Avaforce to transfigure a statue of a bird into a real one that was blocking a floating table elevator. The table sends Harry up to the attic, where Hedwig delivers a package that is then snatched by Peeves.
It's Saber Potty Potter. I've got your parcel, Potter. Want it back, do we?
Harry has to race Peeves through the attic, and this was quite fun, so he didn't mind having to try again after losing first. Harry wins the second time, and Peeves surrenders the parcel, which holds an invisibility cloak from an unknown sender who claims that it used to belong to Harry's father. Harry immediately exploits the cloak to snoop the forbidden corridor, but must sneak past Filch and his cat, Mrs. Norris.
There are things in the forbidden corridor that are not for the eyes of mere boys like you. No, no indeed. Dumbledore has ordered that no students are to enter this corridor. And don't go trying a secret passage. Mrs. Norris and I know them all. Now be off with you, before I have you expelled for wasting our time.
Actor Alan Corduner, who also voices Snape and Quirrell in these games, is brilliant in these roles. The cloak is not nearly as powerful as in the book, as here Harry needs to collect invisibility tokens to activate it for a limited time. In the next rooms, Harry needs to stay out of sight until he can become invisible, then make it to the next door. Professor Snape meets Filch, giving him
Permission to use the harshest measures necessary.
Though whenever caught, the game just boots Harry out of the forbidden corridor, which seems like more of a forbidden library, and Harry has to sneak past Filch in every previous room all over again. Finally, Harry reaches the door that from the other games we know contains the castle's resident Cerberus, but it's locked, so Harry goes into another room, finding the Mirror of Erised, which reflects the vision of his deceased parents. Dumbledore suddenly appears and explains that the mirror solves one's greatest desire. The headmaster then leaves without disciplining Harry. Harry getting the cloak and finding the mirror should happen later. There is actually no mention of Halloween in this game, but PlayStation Harry is finally all caught up for the main event. In the 2003 game, Harry attends Charms class, where Professor Flitwick teaches the softening charm Spongify. This is a spell from the second game that developer Warthog reused the engine of, and feels disappointing and lazy. The charm's lesson should be Wingardium Leviosa, which I've said before happens on Halloween morning in the book, for reasons that will become apparent soon. Also disappointingly, the Sponsified Sounds has the same dark aesthetic and feel that the Loomis Sounds did in Defense Against the Dark Arts, down to the entrance being another square hole and it containing the ghosts. Harry can cast Sponsify on certain floors to make them trampolines to reach higher areas. On another visit to Hagrid's garden, Harry can use Sponsify to bounce to a new area. Past some nasty, dangerous Bowtruckos, he gathers Wigan tree bark for the potion's homework. I almost forgot about Lego Harry Potter's main version, last seen in episode 4. Harry wakes up and goes to Charms class, learning Wingardium Leviosa. He can actually cast a generic spell and break things too, which actually has been named in the files as Fractostrata. Anyway, this is the only game that times this lesson correctly, as after class, Harry heads to the Great Hall for supper. Now it is finally time for the Halloween feast. Professor Quirrell suddenly burst in, interrupting.
Troll in the dungeon! Troll in the dungeon!
Harry and Ron realize Hermione has been missing and had heard she's in a restroom. The boys go to warn her, but they get trolled by the troll, who is not in the dungeon. The PC and PS1 games handle the troll in the same way. Here the troll chases Harry towards the camera. The long corridor is filled with holes, and in the PS1 version the holes are filled with green goo. Then else we arrive in the bathroom where the troll attacks Hermione. Ron uses Wingardium Leviosa to bonk the troll on the head with its club, while Harry protects from debris with Flipendo. In Lego Harry Potter, the boys follow the troll. Ron's rat Scabbers crouch through pipes to set off water blocking the way. Confronting the troll in the restroom, it's defeated by using Wingardium Leviosa to throw back the debris and then club it on the head. In the mobile version it's similar. The boys get through the electric corridor only for Peeves to steal the lavatory key. After recovering it from the pesky poltergeist, the troll is weakened by shooting it with Reducto. The troll doesn't drop its club, so an object that vaguely looks like a club is built to drop on its head instead. In the book and these 4 games, Wingardium Leviosa is used to defeat the troll with its own weapon. The remaining 3 have it defeated differently. In Game Boy Color, the troll is another boss fight, except every spell but Vertimilius does 1 damage. Wingardium Leviosa is ineffective because the troll is too heavy to lift and hasn't dropped its club. I only had Vertimilius Uno, which wasn't enough. I hadn't been using it enough, so Harry had to use it on some other enemies in a parallel room until unlocking Vertimilius Duo. With the upgraded spell, Harry defeats the troll. Game Boy Advance has the worst version of the fight. The troll is fought in a large room behind the restroom's broken well, full of pits, and the particularly big one that you need to knock the troll into with a pendant. You can only knock back the troll when it roars, and it's nearly impossible to lure it next to the pit. There's a time where I clearly knocked it into the troll hole, but it proceeded to walk back. After getting clubbed and fainting several times, Harry finally defeated the troll by pushing it onto an obviously solid section of floor near the pit. Warthog's version is also reliant on getting the troll in specific spots, but it's not as janky and stupid as on ZBA. Harry casts Sponsify on some tiles so that when the troll beats them with its club, the club bounces back up to hit the troll. This is creative use of Sponsify trampolines instead of just jumping higher with them, but Sponsify replacing Wingardium Leviosa's role really makes it clear that this is a prequel recycling spells from Chamber of Secrets. With the troll defeated, some professors arrive. Harry and Ron are about to get in trouble for this reckless rescue mission, but Hermione takes the fall for them. This selfless act seals the deal on her becoming Harry and Ron's friend. This was the first episode to feature all 7 games of LEGO Harry Potter's main version finally returning. We will be seeing more from it in the future, starting in the next episode.